successful as well. And I think we've got word on that. That's Metro Sound is the vendor. They not able to address it yet. Hopefully they will be able to address it before next week's meeting. So that's the best information we got. Real quickly, number 5, driving tour of drainage concerns. I just note that we talked briefly about it. It says, please note village board members will drive their private vehicles, and there's a listing, I think, of 13 property owner names, addresses there, and kind of a time schedule. You all should have a packet that I think, not including the agenda, has got 75 pages to it. There's a couple of general sheets at the front that somebody might have seen, and then there is something specific to each of the stops we're going to make, with the exception, there's nothing for the very first one, which is Kurth, and the 2 copies. And if you'd like a copy, Mr. Hamm, there are 2 that were passed out just before the meeting was to start here. One of them pertains to item 5E, which is Kibitsky, and the other one pertains to 5M, which is Desai. Just a quick thing, reminder, these, if you looked at these are roughly counter clockwise around the town. There's 13 stops. These are set up to be 20 minutes apart. The intention is 15 minutes, give or take, each place, on an average 5 minutes to try to move between places. I think I'm going to ask everybody to kind of be taskmaster. We want to stay on the schedule, or we're not going to get done before dark or dusk. These all will be on the agenda for discussion and possible action next Thursday at our regular board meeting. And I think it's appropriate to get information. I'm going to take any photographs. These people, property owners, typically have been advised we're doing this. Not sure they're all going to be there. I think we'll typically, and some of these are familiar issues, have been on the agenda before. I think typically we'll give people 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes or whether or not they can explain, orient. If we got a communication, and go through it, and then we'll kind of go to questions. So it's information gathering. We've got Jerry and Chris with us as resource people, so maybe we can help do things. So not looking to make final decisions, but gather information. So that's kind of gist of it. In the adjournment, we will basically do at our last stop, assuming we get all through. We will not come back here and adjourn. We'll make a note of the time for adjournment and report that back to you or Kathy, so it simply can be put into the minutes that the meeting was adjourned at whatever time at the last address, or whatever, to cap it off.
Thank you.
Okay. Any question about what we're about or whatever? I think we get encouraged to kind of travel alone. I pestered Jerry. I don't know whether he's going to take me along with him, or we have to go separately or whatever, but again, we're not really to be.
In the back of the truck.
I have to sit in the back of the truck. That's the best offer you got? All right. So if anybody else wants to, and this is, I told everybody, I mean, this is a public meeting. If anybody wants to join us along the way, or we run into some of these people and they want to go to the next stop or whatever, it's a completely public meeting. Any other questions? If not, we'll go, and the first stop is.
Well, I guess we could do a name from here within earshot.
Okay.
Thank you for hosting. I know we're running a bit early. That's good, because I'm
That's
afraid
fine.
eventually you're going to be running late. But why don't you? Oh wait, there's a couple more yet coming along. Is that a flag on your car, Chris, or is that the driveway back there? That's the driveway. Oh, I thought it was your ride. No. No. Okay.
You missed it. Last week it was grilled blue cheese with strawberries, balsamic glaze, and basil on grilled bread.
I remember getting the invitation.
You need to come involved when I make chili on the grill.
Chili on the grill.
Yeah? And then
We
you
should
put a
give her
little
more
bourbon
time and
with it.
reschedule this one.
What was that?
We need to give you more time and reschedule this one.
But you have to have chili on the grill and then add bourbon to it. The earthiness just comes out. It's just fantastic.
Okay, I think everybody here who was gonna be here,
Alright.
again, we kind of said this, I shared with you briefly, it's informal kind
Alright.
of thing, we're even a little bit ahead of schedule, I think, like with any of the other 13, we give you, I mean, a couple of us know what the issue is, others don't know
Okay.
it all, so we give you a little bit of time to
Alright.
go on the soapbox, and then they'll ask questions and stuff.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, as you can see, it's a cul-de-sac that's open and was never closed when they built the subdivision over there. What has transpired in the last 30 years or longer, I've been here for 30 years, is that when the city comes in, they drop the snow and the cul-de-sac comes like in like this. Snow is dropped like here and it's not picked up by the town. And I've had the town, we've been out there numerous times, so has the city, and just when I think something has been resolved, it's not. It keeps reoccurring. Now the interesting part is, since we have no snow, we have cars coming in, using the cul-de-sac, coming out. And they don't know what's going on. They don't figure it out. They don't have to. You can just come out the straight forward. And I've had the fence was put up recently because people come around and come up in the yard. Yeah, it's not very clear. So I'm asking for the cul-de-sac to be gone with.
Quick thing, and maybe Chris wants to even jump into a little bit, or Jerry, or whether or not typical column pavement. There's such a thing as what, 24 which is narrower than what they've got there, but which is narrower than the city is curb to curb. That's got to be well over 30. Normally, what we would, it's probably 36, maybe. Okay. Back to that. Normally, you know, like we're doing in Pebblebrook Hollow, we would have the developer who's second take the cul-de-sac out as part of the project, but likely because that was city and this was town, that didn't happen.
Yep.
So this goes back, how long you lived here?
I've lived here for over 30, but my parents have lived here for even longer.
Okay, so this goes way
Yeah,
back.
way back.
And so the town was before the city. Do we have any idea
Correct.
when the city hooked up? We know, we don't. Is that here when you moved in, or your
Yeah.
parents, or when did so
Yeah.
that's
The cul-de-sac
over
is-
30 years ago since
Right.
it's been
I would
this
say
way?
probably 15 years.
One of the other things, just Chris or Jerry, maybe a thought in it, and Jerry and I were out here, we looked at the snow plowing thing. I think that was back on the 7th of February or something. We were out here with people from the city and a private snow plower to
Correct.
address that issue. But the issues with this, and we're going to resolve it today, but is what to do, how much does it cost, who does it pay for it. But I mean, one of the other things is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, if you were to do that, you'd probably want to profile the ditch, I would think would be the right way to do it. Maybe you don't have to do it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
Another question.
You're going to do,
We're hooked up to sewer. Why do we need a ditch?
that's for storm.
Oh, okay.
Your
So I
sewers
still
are
need a ditch.
sanitary,
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the other thing that it gets to, if we do that, this affects your property and the one across the street, I think, or two properties. Those are city properties. You probably then, if you're going to move the culvert out, you're probably going to have to move driveways back and reshape or reprofile them to meet
That one probably.
to meet
Yours might be fine.
grade. This one might work or might be close,
Yeah.
but that one you probably got to go back a couple of stones or something into to extend the driveway to make it work. Is that fair or not?
Yeah. Right, I would agree. Do you experience any drainage problems at all with the snow plowing the way it is? It's just kind of a nuisance plowing
It's just
operation?
well,
or-
most of the snow is on the asphalt, so with
Yeah.
the sun hitting the snow and the asphalt, it
Yeah.
melts.
Yeah.
So driveway extensions and there's probably new culverts and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Has your culvert been here as long as you have?
Yes.
got that here in a second.
So everybody wants to walk and take a look at it, and that's kind of the issue.
I wouldn't need software from the west side of the driveway to the side of tear it out, plant grass, and call it a day.
This would be her driveway.
Soft from there to there,
Yeah.
rip it out, call it a day.
Well, I make sure that it's that.
All possible.
Seems to me that request has been made already.
So it's like it's a little underground, huh?
Yeah, it is.
One of the other things, tongue-in-cheek, when we were here the 7th of February, Jerry admitted that he plows this route, so if there are any complaints about the quality of the snow plowing, it goes right to him, right?
And believe me, I call. Oh,
Did I
definitely.
hang you out pretty good there?
But I'm polite.
That's good.
It's all coming this way. And
So,
I got out without a watch and I'm low on phone battery, so it's going to keep this tasking on time here.
yeah, I've got quarter after.
I got out a little bit ahead of schedule. Probably should have been addressed way back when the city hooked onto it, but I mean,
Yeah.
that's
I
50
I
years
don't
ago,
think
right? I
the
mean,
city
it is
will
what
do
it is.
anything because they're
Huh?
very, city won't do anything. No, they're very adamant about it. In fact, upright rude.
the city's not.
Yeah, and the city has been rude during the whole snow removal issue too. In fact, my snowplow driver that I had called the city numerous times because he was plowing like this much snow over. And
Would you say the road's falling apart?
yes, it is.
Apparently you haven't looked at too many roads in the town lately.
So we're your second stop?
Yep.
Hello. How are you doing?
Hello, Brian.
Tim, Melinda, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Wow, beautiful day.
Not bad, it's gorgeous. When we made our first stop, they had hors d'oeuvres. What do you guys serve?
I can pull up some beer and salsa.
You bring up the beer and salsa, we will probably run behind schedule. huh?
microwave popcorn.
Yeah. Let's see, we've got one or two more coming yet. Chris here? No. Chris is coming yet. Yep.
These all people on the board and other committees, or
Well,
People
we'll
like
just
me.
even introduce ourselves real quickly as soon as these guys all get here. Welcome, and we're a little bit ahead of schedule, I think, but we probably won't be the rest of the evening. But maybe just quick introductions. We'll introduce ourselves and then you folks to us. Brian Fisher, currently president of the new Village of Waukesha.
Well, I'm Jerry, Public Works Director, Town of Waukesha.
Bob Stigler, Village Boredom. I got it right.
Sandy Hamm, I'm a resident recording the video.
David German. Tom Polanski, Village Board.
Mike Dirk, trustee.
Chris Ginelli, town engineer.
okay.
Village engineer.
Welcome all.
Melinda McNulty, Tim McNulty.
Yep. And we put, there's information in the packet, I got some of that, but I think kind of what we're doing here loosely, you guys want 5, 6, 8 minutes or something, or whatever, to tell your story, then we'll take questions. If you want to take any pictures, I think we're not intending to take any action here and now, because we'll be put on the agenda for next Thursday, the 25th. So you can look for the agenda for that. Would encourage you to be there, whether we'll be in a position to do anything at that point in time, or whether or not that will be seen. Okay.
Should we go down by the ditch
Sure,
maybe? and-
whatever. It's your tour, it's your
Look at
property.
it.
I'm not even sure I'm in the right of way or I'm on your land.
So again, welcome all. I appreciate you guys coming down here and taking a look at what we have here. So back in, what was it, 2017, I believe, 18? Jerry, do you remember?
I don't remember the exact what.
It was winter and there was a thaw, and with that thaw came water that went over the edge of the road and the other side, and that's because this was plugged up. This was full, and I have some pictures for it. But January 23rd, I got a letter from Safe Filled claiming that I filled it in. And I said, what? I didn't fill it in. So I had conversations with several members, Mr. Merrick, Mr. Dewar, throughout, and I was informed that there's a ordinance that says the property owner has to maintain the ditch. So hence, I said, but I didn't fill it in. It's all from road work and the sand that's been put down and things of that nature. And he said, well, yep, but that's still your responsibility. So I said, okay, what do we need to do to get it fixed? If I'm at fault and I didn't maintain it, well, I wasn't aware of that, but I want to do the right thing. So Jerry came down, you took a look at it, and they figured out that something had to be done. We waited until it melted and it was springtime and the work began. I do have some pictures if anybody wants to look. This is what it looked like. And again, this is the dirt. Feel free to take a look. That was in there, okay? And the whole thing was filled, right, Jerry? Yeah, so they had to get a fire truck down here to blow it out. And obviously, I didn't fill it in because I would have had to fill it in. So, but there's quite a few.
Obviously, this is coming this way. This is the outlet.
This is the outlet. And you can look on the other side. You can see, and here's a picture of that inlet at that time. So you can see that it was quite filled in as well. Got it. And here's a good picture of what Jerry was finding. So that's here's says the property owner shall be responsible for removing brush, weeds, cattails, and similar vegetations which obstruct the free flow of water within the ditch, culvert, or swale. Anything I show you resemble a bush, tree? No, what you saw was road dirt. What you saw was what accumulates here. And if you want, I have a shovel up here. You can dig down a little bit, and you can see that it's filling up again with the same stuff. So take a good look, if you would, please. Take a good look at what this has become. The children play here. They play on the side of the road. They try to catch the frogs. You can see stuff swimming in there. I don't know what it is. It smells. I'm sure there's mosquitoes. This is dangerous, in my opinion. This is very dangerous for children. Is there anybody here? And yeah, that's about it. Questions?
How long have you lived here?
About 20 years.
20 years. And has this condition changed by your observation over this 20 years?
It filled. It filled. At the very beginning when I moved in, I did try to take a couple wheelbarrows out of here, but it was all just dirt. And where do I put it? I put it up somewhere in back. And after that, I didn't know that it was, quote unquote, my responsibility to keep it out. So.
can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
In the 20 years that you lived here, how many times did this go over the road and freeze?
Never, except at one time during the thaw. The one time. Good point, Jerry. Thank you.
Looks like your neighbor is doing a drainage project of sorts. Could be.
Other questions?
Jerry might even want to speak to it. I mean, I think he may have records of the shot grades here. I mean, anybody can see that. It's pretty minimal pitch from A to B, such is the nature of it. So for many years, I assume like other Benton residents, the town put salt and sand on the road. Some of that sand ended up in the ditch lines, and it's sand and silt from conveyance up slope, two directions, that type of thing. And this is this the only culvert at the intersection, the other side?
Something on the
that
other side,
works
but
for
There's
it?
one up there a little bit further that goes kitty corner across.
Cross culvert, but not down here. Okay.
Again, I was sent a bill for this. And I know of other properties right up the street here where there's exactly the condition I mentioned of trees, and I got pictures of it in it. And I believe town came and dug that out. When I asked Kathy if anybody was charged, she said nope. So I believe that policy has not been fairly enforced. Just to go on record.
Remind me, did I share with you that this will be on the agenda for Thursday of next week?
Yes, yes.
Putting, get all the way through 13 properties tonight. All those things may not be resolved at that meeting. There may be discussion and no action, maybe limited discussion, but it's the opportunity at least for everybody to see this in the flesh. Hear that, so if you're able to do it, I would encourage one or the other or both of you to come to the meeting.
Yeah, I get the notifications when something's posted, like the agendas and topics.
Is there anything else you wanted to add? Did I forget anything?
No, you did good.
I'm sorry, I'm unaware.
You're constantly. It'll never dry up this summer.
Yeah, it's down to the clay, and so this never dries out. There's never a time that this is not. But obviously, look what's going on.
Okay, gentlemen.
Thank
Other
you all.
questions?
Sandy Hamm, just videotaping.
Sandy.
Yes.
How you doing?
Mike, good to see you.
Do we have something in our packet on this?
I didn't even see you over here.
They should be
I'm Tom Kinsky. We just got done with Little Mountain Tea, right?
sequential order, yeah.
There's Little Mountain Tea.
I talked to you back when they didn't cancel trick or treating when we got.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and they told me, well, the city's doing it, and it wasn't you, it was someone else. Well, the city's doing it. I said, well, the city has sidewalks. We don't have it here. You know, 3-4 inches of snow. Seems like a dangerous situation for the kids.
We get all the way around with the intros. David German, trustee.
Yeah.
You know who I am.
I know who you are.
Is that good?
It took a while. It took a while,
All
but
right.
I know.
We get all the way around with intros?
We did.
Okay. Then Ed, if you wouldn't mind, why don't you take 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 minutes, whatever you want. Tell us a little bit about the history of it and what your issues or concerns and stuff are.
Basically, when Harmony Homes developed this subdivision back in the early 70s, they had a problem here with the
pitch of the ditch starting about 3 homes up on the other side of Timber Trail here. It held water up there. I bought in '76 with a ditch that was considerably different than this. They recognized the problem at some point after that. The town did. I don't know if it was through complaints. I'm guessing it was because the water just sat up there. And then they decided that the ditches from Timber Trail through my neighbor's yard would have to be dug out deeper. So they came through, I think it was probably in about the mid-'80s, and dug them out. And they sodded, but instead of recutting the entire contour, they just, at this point, they just went down. You can almost see it. You would be able to see it a lot easier if they had not put rock in here, because they found out that the sod wasn't sticking after they attempted sodding it. So in about '91, they came through and tried the rock. And the rock sticks. It doesn't go anywhere, but it catches everything. So it's slowly filling up again. And the problem now is with me, my culvert's rotted out, it's old, but it's a more expensive job now because the ditch is deeper than it was when I built here. I personally feel that because of the additional expense, the town should have some responsibility in this project. I've been told that standard concrete ends will not apply in this case because of the depth of the ditch. That the metal ends would work, but I don't want metal ends unless I have a high grade of asphalt available.
Well, I can get precast 18 inches for that, but this I can't do. This would have to be custom work.
Right, and we did discuss that, yeah. But
What's the size of the culvert, you know?
That's like 18.
well, that one's a 15.
No, it's 18.
That's a 15, but 18 has been recommended.
So the town put the stone in?
Yeah, in about '91 they put the rock in because
All right.
they just couldn't grow grass in there.
Okay.
Or the sod didn't. The sod, I think they tried sod first, but it washed out on the first storm.
Chris and Jerry, you guys got a better eye than I do probably, but maybe this is a little bit of an illusion because this is going down the hill, but doesn't it look like there's pitch from that culvert invert to this one? Boy, there's not very much cover on that one.
What's the issue here? I mean, you don't have a drainage problem, do you?
Well, there's always water here, but there's springs in these hills. My issue is I've got an estimate to repair this, which I feel I shouldn't be fully responsible for.
Okay.
Because this isn't the ditch that was here when I bought this property. This is
Repair the culvert, you mean?
right to replace it. It's a more expensive job now because the ditch was dug out. You know, and I understand the $1,500 average expense I was told. But I'm not willing to.
the good eye, how far from this culvert to the one by the street?
I didn't catch that, Brian.
Just trying to get a guess.
Okay.
100 feet? Chris is being face it off. That's kind of what I was going with. Chris thinks that's a little low. It sure looks like in this section, maybe it's right up there, but this, yeah, that sure looks to me like it.
No idea.
I know you did something.
We got ditch, that's not the water.
Huh?
Yeah, I mean, you'd never get grass to go in here ever.
No.
Well, the water's,
It's like a floating sod.
I had done with them.
I get that, but
I was okay with that.
the water's, well, I think, well, no, I don't believe it. Like, if you look at it, I've seen hardly any water. I think you get stuck in the pockets of the brick, of the rock.
But then they fill up and it should move out of the pockets.
Sure.
Yes.
How far? There you go.
110.
Should have said plus or minus 10%.
culverts and was afraid to ask.
So I mean, just even as a thought, moving forward, looking at stuff, we've got some things, I mean, this wouldn't be difficult at all to simply set up laser level and shoot inverts of culverts. I mean, this culvert's gonna be replaced. That's somehow or other part on the agenda. We've got to make sure that this is an appropriate height, whatever happens with the ditch, to try to maintain, I would think, the uniform pitch from there at least to the next driveway, right? I mean, you don't want this thing too high or too low, or it's going to screw with issues either this way or that way. So,
I am 5.5 inches. I checked that myself.
5.5 inches higher than there. You got any idea, and I'm not asking you to do it, but from here to there, I mean, that...
You know, I had the transit here.
All right, but that's something we could do to get that information, right? Okay. Is this big picture question I asking you and him to get an answer with it, this culvert replacement? I mean, culvert replacement, that's on property owner's dime. It's just the nature of the way that is. Is this reflecting that some of this is rusted out and shot and stuff? I mean, this is going to happen pretty quickly, but I think part of this is we need to find out whether you do something enough with the rest of this before you do the culvert replacement. Is that kind of where we're at? Figure out the big picture.
I don't know if we were to redo this all over again, money no object, I don't know if we'd make this ditch any shallower.
Yeah. So I mean, but we probably need a bit of information, more information than we're going to get this afternoon. Does that make sense? Yep. I mean, we're kind of cued in or fixed by.
It's really flat that way, and then it dies.
Is that a culvert replacement? Or does anybody know the asphalt?
Yeah.
You know your neighbor?
Yes.
Or maybe Jerry knows. Is that a recent thing, Jerry? That was a culvert replacement. You guys know how long's that been there? Huh?
6 years ago, something.
How big is that one?
It's an 18.
An arch, 18 arch.
That might be a 21 arch.
All right. So, not trying to cut this short, but we understand what the issue is. We need some more information. This will be on the agenda for next week at the village board meeting. We may or may not have, and someone's going to take some time, information, do anything with it, but at least we want to put it on the radar. Is that fair enough?
I'm guessing we still have COVID-19 restriction on the meeting.
We are meeting, and we've got, if you come to the meeting, we've got chairs that are dispersed within the meeting room area and stuff. I mean, people want to wear masks, they're welcome to it. So we've got board members and staff are spread out, and we've got people in the meeting room, chairs dispersed far and wide.
Were they closed for some time?
We had been closed, but that's been off for several weeks.
Okay.
We had closed, and we're back to a regular meeting schedule now. Okay, who's got the time as we keep moving on? Here, this is a little bit different than others. I did not. This has got the name of Birch on it, which I think it's a David Birch, which is 3 houses down, and Diane Harper. Despite though that name, she has communicated with us, and then before I did not tell anybody we were coming to this destination. People might come out, but if you look at in the packet, there's all kinds of pictures. This thing has been going on for a long period of time. I think Chris knows about that. This is the Merrill Hills residential development thing. Okay. And
correct me if I screw up on it, but there was contemplation that this would be used for construction, ingress and egress, and I think did some of you even inventory condition of town roads or whatever, that type of thing, to see whether they would sustain damage and hold contractor potentially responsible for that. They have decided not to use this while they're doing the dirt moving part of the project and sewer part of the project. So we're on the western edge of it. I think this lines up like the western edge of the golf course property, right? Yeah. But the issue for years has been backyards of these houses, and then that next street over is what, country club circle or something, so that kind of feeds toward it. Soon we'll see more. I mean, this is a huge natural drainage area that goes behind there, and Diane Hart and some of the other neighbors and everything have laid blame with the golf course. I don't know the history of that for drainage issues, drainage problems. Some of the backyards are so wet that there's allegation of killing trees. Tom and I are looking at the one thing that Mr. Burdette Vendette, he's actually backyard on the other side of it, so there's ash trees and locust trees and stuff behind there. So it's drainage issues. When this project started, it's unnerved a couple of the neighbors because they were doing chipping and brushing here, and chips were flying and all that kind of stuff. Pictures I gave you. So I met with her. I met out here with Jack Gaudian. Some of you know, remember the name because he's come before us, and now owns this property. And he had the guy who was like his superintendent for doing this, Eddie Milliken, who's an old Berlin grading guy. If you know Eddie, if you look, and I had attempted to reach Jack Gaudian, I haven't heard from him. I don't think he would care. This is part of neighbor issue. Doesn't want to do it. I think if anybody wants to, I think we can certainly walk up a little bit. Look up that way. A lot of those photographs were taken in April or something, but silt fences, wattles, wire logs, whatever you want to call them. I know this on the other side of that, Mr. Vendette said the amount of drainage. Remember, we had, what was it, 5.5 inch rainfall. I don't remember, was it a month ago or something like that or whatever? He said they got far less water through the back of it. So,
Can I ask you a question, Brian, at this point? Because we talked about this development, and I was under the impression when this was laid out, the water was going to be flowing.
well, that's what they're doing. They basically
solve this problem.
Yeah, basically reverse it or greatly alleviate. Yeah, I think the drainage area that goes that way is reduced by like half or something.
Significantly. And
There's still water going that way, but
I
it's
didn't
not.
personally witness it, but even they had this, some of this largely roughed in and reversed when we had the 5-inch rainfall, according to Gaudian.
Is it mainly because it's under construction? Or is it
advertised? What's that?
Is it mainly just because it's under construction? But all the water just
It is stored for the generation.
Jack, did you, or Brian, did you talk to Jack about going on the property?
I didn't. Yes, not today, but when I talked to him a number of weeks ago, he basically said the village board do anything you want to do.
All right.
So
this is public right away, at least right here.
It is, not where they're walking, it ain't.
Yeah, it is.
That's public right away?
This whole cul-de-sac's gonna be
Oh,
public.
all right, then I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, you're good.
To answer your question, Mike, I did not do that. Maybe I tried to reach over. Well, but based on the discussion I had with
So what's some drainage issue that
So I
this
think,
resident wants us to
I
fix?
think historically, a large part of this was farm field at one time. Used to drain down this way and through their backyards. Since the development has occurred and once it's finished, that drainage area is cut off significantly. So basically, where you see the edge of the road, that's going to drain that way now, not what used to drain.
But here's where I'm a little confused. this development is improving the situation.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's
So
basically.
why, I mean, when this was developed, the problem occurred, right?
I think this has been an ongoing thing for years. And
I understand.
And I don't know what the...
But nothing happened that it
Correct.
became a problem,
Not
right?
that I'm aware of, correct.
And we can't even throw this one on the salt or the silt from the road plowing.
Correct.
This is about solving a problem. So I mean, if you look down there and see the grading stuff where that road extends, they've built that up. They've effectively made an embankment there, and all that water now is going to the east. Okay. So they've greatly improved the situation. I put this on the list because I wanted people to see it. I mean, I'm not going to go down there, but if you walk down there, you can see, and I don't believe the silt fence there was ever breached. In some of those photographs, there's wattles, barley logs, oh my, nothing. They have those up when they started construction on this. I mean, they have an interest, I mean, they've built that up significantly at the road there. I mean, I'm just eyeballing that must be built up 4 feet or something, isn't it?
So do we anticipate a problem that needs to be solved now or when the...
So
Okay.
this is for education. Well, I guess put it this way: will we continue to get complaints or whatnot? Perhaps, but I thought it was important for people to see this for what it's worth. For me, it's checked the box on it. This is problem solved.
Public complaints until the asphalt.
They're leaving.
I'm sure they'll complain for a
There's
while.
one other thing, and they decided to leave this to the end, not even coming this way. That's what you have. They basically are. This is like when we went and looked at Lori's thing that's going right. They're putting off the cul-de-sac, close it up, and they're going to put it back on the driveways and redoing it and tying it in here. And then I let this. That's going to happen. They pretty much want to get this done. They even reach that, tie it together. They're going to do that at the end. Oh, on the street stuff. Is that your understanding?
That's what Eddie's doing.
They may
He's
still
being
want
really
to
good
do
about it.
a house building. I got a complaint. I didn't bring it along. That's all. Any trucks on somebody being the officer. Heller, I think it is Barrel Hills Road. Anybody know him? You know him, Mike? Knowing about heavy trucking and stuff on Barrel Hills Road. That may be part of consequence of this.
Was that part of this, or was that just because of Maryland?
They're using Barrel Hills Road because they're not coming in through this way. I think that may be part of that issue.
They're using the golf course entrance for the
this?
development. Correct.
And they claim they spent a bunch of extra money and messed up stuff to build a temporary road through there to stay away from this problem.
Because I know this was a concern from the neighbors when they started
And
this.
they do not want to have any further communication directly with the neighbors.
So does not, who does not? Doesn't want to have communication with these neighbors?
He said they reached out even on the planning part before they started the project. Says they did all kinds of neighbor outreach. He doesn't think he can do anything. But as far as the town now, the village is concerned, nothing but absolute cooperation. He's the one that sent photographs and stuff. Basically, he and Eddie Milliken, anything that the village has concerns in communication. And I don't have any reason to know, and I do trust that they weren't doing anything other than doing this in a very professional, responsible manner. That's
hungry.
Introduction, Bob, Bitsy, you know who I am, maybe know some, or none of you want guys all introduce yourselves. I think you'll be here. Mike Durr, trustee.
I'm Jerry with the Public Works Department.
Sandy Hamm, I'm recording the event.
All right.
Bob Stigler, I'm on the board.
Hey, Bob.
We know each other.
Yeah. David German, trustee 2.
I'm Chris Ginelli, village engineer.
Tom Kalinsky, trustee 1.
You got my email, I think?
Yep, I passed those out before we left Village Hall, but why don't you go through, tell us a little bit of the history of your living here and the issues and all that kind of
40
stuff.
some years, and I think 3 times over the last 40 some years the town has come out and dug it out. but they dug it out. You know, you just can't do one. If you do ours and you don't do all the way down to Town Line Road, it doesn't do any good because it backs up all the way. Everybody's got water. And before I dug everything out, the water was from like here over to there normally. You know, so it's like a foot, 2 feet deep. And what happened was, standing there in the culvert, that rusts out. That cost me $2,800 about 3-4 years ago. That I had to replace. Well, the town came out and replaced it. No one else along here said, well, Tom's going to have to get his done because this is starting to collapse in too. But not a lot of people had to replace their culverts because they don't have water standing there. The biggest problem that you're going to have down the road is up here at the intersection. I don't know if you want. We go up to the intersection. We got 2 lots. Yeah, we got 2 lots.
You being boxed enough by
Oh
the
yeah,
village?
yeah.
You sure?
I think
Look
so.
at that. It's got 2
They
lots
tax
here.
it as
Do we know
farmland, so I don't know if you want to walk up and.
We're being taxed as farmland?
I think that's what.
Boy, you
he
maybe
gave it
better
to us
wish
as.
you hadn't invited us over.
Hey, I got a farm up there. I got
Maybe we need a stormwater pond there.
Huh?
Maybe we need a stormwater pond there.
You think? What? I had no idea you were a wealthy village landowner.
What I did, you can see it better here. So I got a rake, a heavy rake, and I go in and I pull out all the muck and I bring it up and it bumps like this over here. This has been about 2 months since I did it. But otherwise that water, like I said, before I did, I mean I stood in the water literally to get it to go down to this wide. Because it just backs up, and it backs up. All through here.
What's missing here in the car wash shop? Sand and gravel.
What are you talking about?
Okay. No, I think it's gravel.
One where we need it. Let's put it there.
Well, good things, Tom, huh?
Yeah.
Watch the show, you gotta make water run uphill.
Well, you work on that, right?
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Now this was all on about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Where all that, I couldn't cut the grass and everything. So it was a big pond in there from that bush over there to those bushes and to over here. And what happened, this fills up so high that the water goes over and goes into the yard. But what you got right here, the culvert is collapsing over here. I don't know if, were you out here patching this one? Yeah.
I'm aware of it.
It went down and now it's going down again. So this culvert underneath here has got to be shot. This crossover thing. Cross all the water from up there over there goes down this way. Yeah. It doesn't go down this
even
way.
at Golf Course Development. I mean, that's
Is that
all
coming
part
down
of this
here too?
watershed.
Don't they have a retention pond?
But that has been changed dramatically, so that will lessen this entire subdivision or anything. I mean, it's all coming this way. It's
So
huge.
then it'll be worse. But this is going to be your big problem.
Yeah.
Because this sunk down pretty good. I mean, there was a nice hole here when we called the town, and you came out and through the. But it's down now. Yeah. But over here, this one, you'll see it rusting out there.
Under the road culverts are
When we
ours to
first
fix.
moved in here, there was no water in the wood.
Can't be one south.
Oh, shit, no.
Yeah, it's like it's this far below the pavement too.
Yeah, it's very nice. There's no cover on the road.
That's what we like.
I think it's a wrong, Well, this is
last year, I think, a number of photographs on a number of these intersections. One of the other concerns a little bit is when all of the green stuff starts to really grow up. We almost have stop signs that are obstructed or blind intersections or that type of thing. So, I mean, this stuff will grow higher later in the year, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, you, the town, you come in and cut the ditch here. But most of the homeowners here, cut it themselves because they like doesn't have to do that. Normally he cuts the piece up north all summer. He's got somebody that cuts the grass, but they don't even want to check the ditch anymore. Normally everybody it's just the other thing is mosquitoes.
You can do it.
Standing water.
Go up there and you can just come back and you're way down.
You don't know anything about
Try to
this.
go in
Well,
here,
being on a farm,
area.
we just hit them. Hit them with a baseball bat. They're that big.
So I can't reach it.
That's Jerry. I think, Jerry, if we got, Chris is asking here, tell everybody what we got for mowing equipment. Okay,
Well, I got a flail mower and then I got an arm mower, but I can only.
Yeah, you go in about 4 or 5 feet.
Yeah, I get about 10 feet. That's about top.
But then
But if it dries out a little bit, I go up there and I can cut this corner out. I can back up with the flail. If I try to go in here, I'm going down.
Yeah. Well, you can see where my lawn tractor gets stuck over here. And then somebody will come and help bail me out. I know, the ditch is owned by the town. And I know the letter was sent out. I think it was Bob Callender's reign when that letter was sent out about that we're not going to be responsible anymore. What caused it, I don't know, but
Well, that's different now.
but I think the town needs some responsibility for it.
The town has essentially all the responsibility.
Well, technically, but I can see where you don't want to. It costs money to buy a machinery to muck it out and everything. This Pat, he lives on the corner. Everybody on the town board, so.
Village board.
Village board, that's right, village now.
What's your name, sir?
Patrick Smurfs.
Nice to meet you. Brian Fisher, village president. Let's go around the horn quick and
I'd shake your hand, but probably you
shake your handshake.
6 feet.
I'm Jerry with the Public Works Department.
David German, trustee.
Tom Polinsky, trustee.
Mike Durr, the same.
Chris Chinelli, village engineer.
Bob Stegler, trustee.
Any Hamm recording the event?
So we're doing a tour of 13 different properties in the town this afternoon and evening. They're all got unique circumstances, some of things in common, but it's drainage issues and concerns, so we specifically came to Kubitsky residents, but there are issues here that are a little more than that. Tell us a little bit about how long you lived here. Tell us about
5 years. We really, it's just the cattails that are the issue. I mean, we get the drainage from up there. We don't get much, but it's more across the street here.
There, that you can't cut. It's,
wherever you got cattails, that's right. It's natural.
but the
And I don't know
problem
what you
is,
guys did before.
can't do one person.
I mean, they haven't done anything, before we, or after we moved
You
in.
just can't just do this intersection because it stops up.
question for Chris, and I'm expecting you to answer it a little bit. Sitting here, is there some rhyme or reason for the diagonal cross culvert, do you think? Is there a thought that that's ditch line is lower than this one or not? Not expecting you to answer it, but
Yeah, I guess I don't know.
that was put in there at some point in time for some rhyme or reason.
But I want you all to know is when we moved in here, the subdivision was new. I think there's about 5 or 6 houses. And each summer, the ditch would be dry because there wasn't the buildup. In over 40-some years, with the sand and the dirt and everything, there's going to be buildup as houses are being built and all the runoff from the houses comes down the ditch. But for even after, I bet you if this was dug out this summer, you come back next summer and I bet you there's no water in the ditches. If we have a normal, if we have 100 inches of rain, there's going to be water down there. But it's amazing how once it gets dug out, how the water drains real nice. And then we can go in and cut it with our lawn tractors and everything. Right now, everything has got to be weed whacked, everybody.
How many houses between you and town line?
Well, there's 3 along here.
Including you or after
Yeah,
you?
including me.
2 more.
Yeah. The white one there, and then there's another one on the corner.
Okay.
And then there's an empty lot to the town line. So I don't know, I don't know where, obviously you probably have to start up where the speed limit sign is, because that's where it seems to start going uphill. So you probably got a quarter of a mile, maybe.
Pretty flat?
Yeah.
You said it did drain before though.
Oh yeah, like I said, if it gets done this summer, you come back next summer and it'll be dry, I guarantee it. As long as you don't have a ton of rain. But then another 10, 12 years from now, you'd be sitting back in the same place again, because it all builds up.
For a little short last year, not doing the salt sand mix, only doing the salt. Whether that's the
That
way
would
for the
help.
future and how much of a help that is, that's kind of an open question. But I think it's undeniable. A lot of what's in the ditches is sand that was put on for many years, or put sand salt mix on the road.
And there for a while it was a lot of sand and no salt. At least on a lot of our roads like this. Because you didn't need the salt. If you had traction, you could get by and everything.
Okay, everybody's your next stop. We're running about 20 minutes ahead of schedule, which isn't a bad thing, but David Rinka, and some of this came to life, at least to my attention last summer, I think August time. I was out here and take a look at it. I want to kind of introduce ourselves so you know who we are. Brian Fisher, who's president.
Chris Chinelli, village engineer.
Tom Kalinsky, village trustee. Mike Durr, trustee.
Bob Stigler, village trustee.
Sandy Hamm, resident, recording the event.
And Jerry with the Public Works Department.
David German, trustee. So we got our whole village board here. I'll give you a picture. Mr. Living here, what your concern is, what your issue is. We're going to get information and hear what discussions that we can agenda for next Thursday. Maybe come back to the discussions around this is a place to start.
Well, I bought this property early 2000s, 2000 and 2001. Quickly came to the realization that there was a significant water problem here. The liner was not here. What was here was nothing but riprap, standing water, cattails. It was a mess. I found out through the town attorney that there had been a problem that the town did not follow a development agreement when the subdivision was put in. Water was supposed to drain from my neighbor to the south this way, and then those culverts were supposed to run east-west underneath Green Country Road to a drainage easement that's behind those houses. Because they didn't follow that, there was nothing but standing water in here. And I was up to my knees in the muck trying to maintain this. I'd gotten several letters from the town telling me that this was my responsibility. Did the best I could. I ended up going back to the town before we had even built the house. They came through, and I asked that the town please collaborate with me. I'm an architect, I'm a contractor, I'm developing. I wanted to set my grade based on whatever needed to be done here. Okay? So we ended up building, the town showed up unannounced, excavated everything through here. Again, still no liner. Threw topsoil and grass seed down. I didn't have water here. I still hadn't put my well in. And instead what happened is everything that the town put in washed into the ditch, I had nice grass at the bottom when it dried out, but the side of the banks were basically left with complained again later down the road. I believe it was named as Everett German, was kind of in control of everything. They once, and I came to the town and said, listen, let me put in some rain gardens, try and absorb some of this water and the runoff, etc. In the meantime, I have an area in the back. You'll notice all the downspouts in the front of my house, in the back of my house, are underground. I took all my own stormwater, and I have a, lack of a better term, a pond that I collect my stormwater. I don't throw it into the ditch because there's already enough of a problem. I'm taking water. This ditch takes water from that house, which has 3 sump pumps which run continuously, as well as everything up the road on Green Country Road. Okay, so this almost never dries out. Everett German instead, after I went to the town board and asked for permission to put in rain gardens to try and absorb some of this rainwater, instead I get a call from my wife saying that DPW is here and they're excavating or digging in areas along the ditch. I had no idea what was going on. Next thing I know, this is what I get. This is a nice improvement because at least the water is moving. However, I still have areas where I can't mow that. You expect me to take care of this. I can't mow it because my lawnmower, and I have to use a push mower, my tractor will sink in this, and not to mention the fact this is too steep for me to be on here. So I have an hour worth of every Saturday to mow this, and that stuff, and as well as some of this, there are areas where I either have old farmer's drain tile, but there are areas that are just saturated after a rainstorm. So I don't know what you expect me to do with it. The bigger problem is all that crap that got dumped down there. It was done incorrectly. Bottom line, okay. I don't know that it's anybody's fault, but all that riprap and rocks and everything else, that was not sifted. There was organic material in that. There was shards of metal. There was driftwood. So as a result, I have weeds growing in there. My solution, and I started on the south side, was to plant wild cucumber, which is basically a viney ground cover, and it was starting to do its job. It was from that my neighbor's culvert at the south end of my property. It was covering all those rocks. Well, the town came in again and threw Agent Orange on it. All the plants that I put in killed them all. I've been nurturing milkweed. My daughter is studying. She's studying environmental science. So one of the things that we try to do is we're trying to make lemonade out of lemons. Okay, so I had milkweed growing in there. That's all get wiped out. Now I'm back to square one. And all the rocks, if you look up there where those daisies are growing, all those rocks are coming back down the hill. There's a big boulder in the middle of the I can't move it. It's in the middle of the flow line. Go all the way down to my neighbor's culvert and look at the island that's growing in there. All the silt and shit that runs through here collects at the mouth of that culvert, and I can pull cattails. I do that twice a year. Haven't done it yet this year. I just got a call from Mr. Fisher saying that you guys were coming out, so I thought I'd let you take a look at it. But I don't know what the solution is anymore. I asked to be part of this, and instead the town just comes out and does whatever they want to do. I have some knowledge, I have some expertise. I'm not the guy that has all the answers, but at least I'd like to be part of it. You just raised my taxes $65,000. And I'm supposed to sell this house as a $500,000 house or a $650,000 house and tell someone that they have to take care of that? Someone explain that logic to me. Because you're basically looking at this property, and that's a detriment. Nobody else has to deal with this. The town is the one that screwed up in the first place, and I'm left with dealing with it. I'm 54 years old now. I blew out a knee twice in this ditch because I can't walk on this when it's wet. I can't walk in the concrete because that gets that slime built up on it. I basically am shoveling the ditch, trying to get all that slime and that mold and that mildew out of it, and I throw it up on the roadside. It's just going to wash back down. I asked Mr. German on that last 100 feet or whatever, they had 200 feet, and just bury it because it's so steep and we can't maintain it. You guys can take care of it. You can't do anything with that. That's not their problem. Somebody way back when is the one that screwed up. There's a drainage easement back there that doesn't get used. So that's my piece. I'm not really mad at anybody here. I'm mad I guarantee you for the last year since you and I met, when I mow the lawn here and I'm slipping and sliding around, I'm cussing your name.
You're thinking of me when you're
Yes.
doing that?
And it's kind of funny because my daughter, she told me that she is right now, but she told me that I told her that I write a letter in my head every time I have to cut the grass.
And it's addressed to me.
Yeah, it's addressed to all you guys. I'd like to see everybody at one time. This was kind of a nice timing, but she said that shouldn't use the language that I'm using.
Okay. What is this a drain from?
I have I didn't put a sump in. I basically put in a gravity drain.
So that's from your sump?
This comes from my sump crock, but there's no pump in there.
Okay.
That's just handling the rainwater around the house. And I only get water coming out of that about once a year, early in spring.
You have full basement?
I have a full basement. I used a different foundation system knowing that this was going to be wet.
More questions for Mr. Rinka? Kind of while you're thinking of questions, I think I may have mentioned we were looking at 13 properties tonight. Okay, about halfway down the list. We're going for each property. My suggestion would be tonight, use this
No, that's piping. That's gas line. This is the left side of the road.
So what was your name again?
I'm Ryan.
Ryan Sandy Hamm.
Sandy, nice to meet you.
I understand. I want you to know that I appreciate your concern with the noise and the disturbance. Imagine 10 baseball diamonds there running from 7 in the morning, 7 days a week until 11 at night.
I can't. Where would that be?
Imagine that.
Every day?
I'm right next door.
Monday?
7 days a week. Sunday.
Playing. They up at 8 o'clock in the
Aluminum
morning?
bat.
8 o'clock in the morning
Oh yeah.
every day.
Ding.
They're serving beer now too.
Ding.
That's a good thing.
Ding.
Jerry's hanging out there now.
Yeah.
I never went there before. Now they're serving beer.
I've never been there. Noise, sound, noise, and dirt abatement. Those are the two. Those are my
Yeah.
two concerns. You know,
Just gonna tie in.
But it'll be quiet later. I'm just saying.
at some point.
You know, once they get done, you'll be back to peace. Whereas I'm living where it was very peaceful, looking out over the marsh, and now it's a baseball diamond. So
We're going to have construction here for the next 10 years. Let's not kid ourselves.
that's likely.
You won't
So-
have roads, you'll have houses.
We'll have houses. We'll have people coming out digging. We'll have nail guns. You know, whatever.
Wells
And-
being drilled.
And guys, to be
Kablink.
honest, we knew this buying.
Kablink.
We knew this buying.
I think the road part of it, I think probably by this winter the roads will be in.
They should be done. What I don't want. I mean, I want
Well,
somebody.
you're
I want
right.
somebody to tell me. Get me to the nearest month. Is that?
Yeah, they're
2
not
months?
gonna,
Once they start,
when
they
they
want to
start
get
building
done.
houses in here, they're not gonna be using this way to come in.
We've got this nice sign that keeps them.
No, they're going to come in.
They're coming
on
off
the
of
main
Oakdale.
road.
Yeah.
Cause it's gonna tie in all out.
But again, at some point, somebody's going to be here with a big ass chewer. Is going to chew through all this stuff, tear it all out.
Yeah.
I get it, right? Just
It's true. It'll be over.
Just
Someday
give it-
they don't last forever.
Just give us to the nearest month.
Yeah, he just moved over here. Because he's building his pond over there, so that's like a. Half and half, because the post of the little post is like running kind of half.
Yeah, I think that tree is fully on Bellman's property.
Okay.
And is fully in what is going to be village right of way.
Okay.
I think there's no doubt it's on Bellman's side of it, because we.
Well, I found the post. I found the post that's like in the woods, so at least I know where that. At least where I was told.
That should be your property corner then, if it's a metal.
Well, it's 50 feet back in there. So.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I mean, this comes circle, but that's open space. So.
Yeah.
But what are we marking? What is this marking right out here? No?
Thomas Markson.
The pink thing, is that property corner?
No, that was utilities.
Oh, the pink thing is too?
Yeah, they had utilities here and utilities over there.
That thing looks like a spike, doesn't it?
Because they dug down 3-4 feet here and then 3 or 4 feet over there. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that probably.
On a pink. So we can hang on just a minute to get through.
Well, I can get going.
Why don't we intro who's real quick?
Okay, my name is Jim Sullivan, and my wife Vicki, she's gonna go get the neighbor woman. We don't know that well, we just really started talking to her recently. But she's been here 15 years, and we've been here 9. We've been friendly hi-bye, and then one day recently we started talking about the same thing. And that is the drainage around here.
Let us just go real quick. We've met, but let's go around and the other people can introduce
Please,
themselves.
I'm Chris Janelli, village engineer.
I'm sure town trustee.
Bob Stigler, trustee.
David German, village trustee.
I'm Jerry with the Public Works Department.
Sandy Hamm recording the event.
Tom Kalinsky, village trustee.
So you got your whole village board here.
Good.
And then our staff resources, Chris, our village engineer, Jerry, Department of Public Works, and Sandy's doing a civic service duty here on recording this for us.
Oh, good. Oh, all right, we're on camera.
And we will, just to mention you, this will be on the agenda, as will the other 12 of them, for next week's meeting at Village Hall on Thursday, the 25th. It's not any guarantee that we're going to
act on any of these, or maybe we'll have discussion. We're not gonna resolve things tonight. There may be need time to do some research and get information. It's the start of the process. So we'll, I guess, encourage you to be there next week. And again, we're not gonna oversell that because this is gonna start in place. We may not have any responses or answers to that point in time. All right. One quick thing you can get going on this morning, Charlie. Sure. Hello.
How are you?
Good. It's Vicky, right?
Yep.
Nice to see you again.
Yep, Karine and Tom are coming over.
Okay. We can redo the intros when they get there. Get started. Just one quick thing informationally, down kind of the bottom right in front of where Jerry parked there and stuff. That crossing culvert we did check out. I think he's not on our list. We have the 19 crossing culverts running out there. Two on Glendale, but Jerry, I think they're up on this way. The ones that are on the culvert list, crossing culverts on Paul's list, are up and around this way. So that one will be added to the list eventually.
Good.
Okay.
Have you made it down to the 4 main culverts yet?
No,
Is that your next stop?
Well, we don't officially have that on there, but you can certainly talk about that issue. So, if you want to get started, well, neighbors are coming. Let's get on this. All right. We'll real quickly reintroduce you a little bit.
Pebble Creek? I think that ties into Pebble Creek.
Let's let these good people quickly introduce themselves, and we'll introduce ourselves to you as well. You can be part of the conversation, so tell us who you are.
Well, we're Tom and Karine, we live next door here.
Okay, Brian Fisher, village president.
Chris Janelli,
Mike Jordan, trustee. Todd Stigler, trustee. David German, trustee.
Jerry with the Public Works.
Sandy Hamm, I'm recording the event.
Tom Kalinsky, trustee.
So you got your whole village board here. You get a package price. All of us together only goes $600 an hour.
You better talk fast.
Huh?
Talk fast.
Yeah, you guys are going to talk first. You started. Go ahead. We're going to listen to you.
Yeah, well, as I was mentioning, and we've kind of discussed this recently, is Karine and Tom have been here 15 years. We've only been here 10. And in the 10 years that we've been here, it's been getting more and more and more difficult to get to the backyard. And I'll show you, I'll point out a few things, but every year it gets wetter and sloppier back there. We got to the point, with the exception of the drought year, when it was really, really dry, no problem, mow the whole thing. Some pumps weren't going off. We didn't have the ticks, we didn't have the snakes, we didn't have the toads. Every year it's becoming increasingly worse. Typically, I've been able to get to the whole lawn mowed, by May. Here we are in the middle of June, and I can go knee deep into muck, snakes, and ticks back there now. So we also, when we moved in here 9 years ago, the culvert that runs across right in front of where we all parked, that was flowing reasonably. You could see the whole culvert, you could see flow. Now it's very, very high. So some of the things that are bothering us from an economic standpoint is we actually thought about moving and finding some land and relocating. We'd like to stay here, and we have some remodeling plans, some substantial remodeling plans that we're holding off on because we just don't know if this is going to get worse. If it continues to get worse, this house is going to be very, very difficult to put on the market. If this is a small phase we're going through, who knows? So the other things that are bothering us are our sump pump is running in the spring nonstop, sometimes every 30 seconds. So if we get a power outage, and this just happened. First year we moved in, sump pump ran for a week, every few minutes. That's gradually escalated. The ground that you walk on gets mushier and mushier, closer and closer to the house. That's gradually been building. When our sump pump goes out, these guys hear it. I didn't realize that until last week when we kind of connected on it. So we're kind of disturbing the neighbors as well.
would you get an alarm or something? What is it hearing?
It just sounds like
Yes, here.
They can hear it. Because
There must be light sleepers
living
or
on that
something.
side.
so, yeah.
Ah, okay.
So we've got ticks. I probably pulled 20 ticks off of us this year. Last year only 10, the year before that 5.
We're going to keep our social distancing.
Yeah.
Up here in the
We all have
safe
lines
from
and
home, right?
SARS. So there's some issues on that side.
And the cattails.
The cattails, we saw a few of them when we moved in. They've been gradually growing. Now they're out to you'll see a pier out here that I put in to get to the backyard. I can't mow the whole yard. I've had my zero turn stuck in it gradually, from once in the first 5 years to every other time I mow that. These guys have got, let them talk about their property damage. So our opinion is that something is constricted beaver dam or something. I mentioned that there's 4 main culverts just down the bend here. We saw them go from pretty good flow to 1 is getting flow. And if you just stop on the bridge and look over both sides for 2 minutes, you'll kind of see the current state of the affair. The previous state was stronger flow. So I don't know if I missed anything, and maybe I'll turn it over to you guys and you tell them your history.
I mean, this has always been an issue from when I moved here, but our basement's now getting affected. We have water constantly in our basement. Anytime it rains, like our property is like the center of everybody's water. So it just kind of puddles and it has no way to get out. So it just kind of sits there and goes in our basement. So, and my basement's exposed, so it literally just comes in the door.
We can't use the basement for storage. We've thrown away so much stuff. You got to keep the appliances up on cement blocks.
And we don't have a sump pump for whatever reason. But
the house never had a sump pump.
And that's been gradually getting worse.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That
definitely.
way 15 years ago.
Now it's turning into mold.
So I feel like if it has a way to get out or move, I don't think we'll get the water anymore. I really don't.
Because again, when we moved in 9 years ago, yes, that would get wet, and yes, I couldn't mow it for a few weeks.
Right, and then it would.
But now I've got a 26 horsepower zero turn that I can't get through if I cut a half a path anymore. So we're out there with weed whackers and hay, pitchforks, and we're just trying to keep the property maintained.
Our fence is falling down.
Yeah.
The ground is
The
getting so
fence is
soft.
shot.
Maybe moving along in group here, any questions? Do people want to walk a bit into the backyard?
I think you get the gist of it.
Culvert? Do both split up, stay together?
I'm just going to go walk down the culvert.
Yeah, you're going to walk to the culvert?
Pertaining to your beaver issue, I have pulled like 5 beaver dams out of here.
Have you?
And the critter control is dumping off beavers out here.
Really?
They catch them elsewhere and
Bring them here.
cities and they dump them out here. So I caught them one day getting rid of beavers, and that was the end of that.
Really? Thank you.
Yeah, that's good to know.
All right.
So next
we
time
want to
critter
head
control
towards the
shows up,
culvert.
kick 'em out.
Anybody want to?
Does anybody want to get out in the backyard and kind of see the mosh pit that we got going on here?
It looks like to see what's causing it, so it looks like you got cattails down here, and that's where most of the water is, right?
Yeah, it just pools right down here.
Yeah.
There's kind of 2 areas that pools. Now, I'll wait till we get the group here.
On the list to look at, probably.
I'm guessing there isn't. Okay.
Here. So I had to, and I burnt through one, $400 string trimmer, and I bought another one just to kind of whack it down, and then I could go over it with the zero turn, hopefully not get stuck. I used to have that issue, but it was right in the middle of this, and only for a few weeks in the spring before you need to start cutting. Those cattails have come from literally the tree line to here. We used to, when we moved in here, I would take the zero turn around the bend here and get behind those willows that you see there and mow through them. I have to leave those go. Zero turn's gotten stuck here half a dozen times, over here half a dozen times, over here half a dozen times.
I've got one of those too. They're terrible in mud.
Those willow trees back right there, the white ones, we used to be able to mow behind there, and the cattails were just like an eighth of what they are now.
They encroach that far, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah.
We used to mow
They
behind.
barely peeked out of
I
that.
don't even remember seeing them like this back in the day.
And actually, last year we had some cattails over here.
Oh, did you really? Now, the lowest point is
We weren't being
right in the corner of our yard where they join. So that's stagnant from the corner of our yard there. In years past, that would dry up or drain down this way. You can kind of see the topography comes down here, which is fine. If we can get it out of here, I can live with not being able to cut the lawn.
We can
move?
a small portion for a small period of time. Could be improved. Well, we got a couple dogs, so we'll watch the main license.
We got 8 of us here. Dennis and Barb Carlson, right? And they came to the town, I don't remember exactly, a year ago or a year plus ago. And I think you got some stuff in the packet. They had a proposal here. Why don't we go around the horn quick? Chris, we want to start with you and just kind of introduce our
Sure, I'm Chris
some of these
Canelli
good folks.
I'm the village engineer.
Bob Stigler, trustee. Mike Dirk, trustee.
Sandy Hamm, I'm recording the event.
I'm Jerry with the Public Works Department.
David German, trustee.
Tom Kalinsky, trustee. We'll give you guys a couple minutes, why don't you? And again, I know you'll put us a proposal together and stuff. Why don't you tell us what you're thinking?
It started out as a problem of getting stuck in the ditch with our lawnmower. And seems like there was a lot of water left in the dish. And so there's architect suggested perhaps doing a dry creek bed sort of thing. And that's what our first proposal was. And I guess we may be rethinking using the stone in there because it'll cause more of a maintenance problem than not. And so we'll probably just look at it making it smooth and making it drain and maybe putting some TB in the bottom or something like that to clear it out. Here, make it better. What do you do? Basically, absorbs water and never dries out. And so the idea would be to have the TV in the middle to get the water flowing through, and maybe take a little more of this out to keep it from, because there's still, if it rains, it gets water coming this way. And
So I'm looking at the mark on the end wall here. The ditch was about halfway up your culvert, 40% halfway up the culvert, at least on the sides of it.
Well, like his.
So water would stand in the culvert then?
Yeah.
On this outlet end of it? Okay.
And got a new neighbor, and he tried mowing around the corner there, and he got all kinds of more tracks. So I don't know what he'll do with his. See, whenever it rains, it seems like the rain doesn't drain real well, but it seemed to soak in with the clear off. So maybe something should have some points where you don't have the TV or something, so it could drain it. I don't know. Like everybody here has this problem. The guy across the street has got his mower stuck down there. Now on Fern Drive here, they've got the bottom where it's 5 feet. Like where I would put the TV, they've got a concrete slab running the full length of the street.
You think the TB would wash out with water flow? No, TB's good on packing on flat. You don't want about water would erode it.
To get a little squishy. That's why I would try the little spot here and see how well it worked out.
Okay, questions of Mr. and Mrs. Carlson? I think I mentioned we got you on an agenda for next Thursday night. We'll be discussing all the places we're visiting tonight.
Okay.
I think so like a week ago or so, there was standing water over there because we haven't had rain, so it's kind of dried up a little bit. The sides of the over there on that side are still squishy, and so if you try doing a tractor in there, you're just going to get stuck.
I made a little trench through that section, kind of the way I was planning on doing it, and if the water, it collects leaves and stuff, so it doesn't drain it really well.
So, I'm sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
It seems like you need to leave it open so you can blow it out.
So are you still with your original proposal that you brought to the board some time ago?
No, not really.
Okay.
But the stowaway.
That's what I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah, we're just gonna simplify it, like, if he digs it out, and then he was thinking of putting, like, lining the thing with TB just so the water would flow easier.
Did you talk to anybody at the town before you undertook this?
Not this, no. Well, we've been talking to this town for last year.
Right, on your previous proposal. I was on the board then, I recall your presentation.
Yeah.
But now it sounds like you've kind of moved on to something different.
The landscaping company that we were using, she's kind of decided that she doesn't want anything to do with this, so we don't really have a landscaper anymore either to put it in, even if we wanted to. But thinking it over, putting the rock in there and whatnot and bushes, I think it would just wind up being more leaves would collect in there and cause more problems. So we were trying to get the water to flow, but keep it simple, just with.
So I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but I mean, the big concern is that you get water that stands, gets soft, you can't get it through the lawnmower. I mean, is that, I'm not trying to simplify it, is that
the
biggest concern?
Yeah, and I mean, then the grass grows and it looks, he managed to, they weed whack and whatnot to kind of keep it looking presentable a little bit, but I mean, it's a lot of extra labor if you can't just run the lawnmower through there and be done with it, so.
All right. Have we, any other questions? We've got a good grip of this?
I'm the guy
Hi, Steve. I know we don't shake hands anymore.
Got a couple neighbors to come along.
Yeah.
Somebody started raining like crazy. Just about on time. We're beautifully on time.
A little ahead.
We're going to start up at Hamm and come on all the way down.
What's that? That's why we're here to talk, right?
Yeah, because the water never gets all the
Quickly, nice to see a large group of people. Why don't people from the village kind of sneak on over here? We'll introduce ourselves real quickly. Maybe just go around real fast. Thanks. We didn't expect this big of a group, but nice to see all you. I'm Brian Fisher, current village president. Let's do the other people up front here.
I'm Chris Ginelli, the village engineer.
I'm Tom Kolensky, village trustee.
Sandy Hamm, a resident, recording the event.
Bob Reedner,
All right, keep going.
No.
Oh, did you want us to?
Oh, sure.
Oh, Gus Pleasy.
Merlin Westfall.
Irene Westfall.
Chris Lewandowski.
Nick Merrick. John Merrick.
Sue Merrick. Betty Reedner.
Bill Lang.
Barb Lang.
Dan Rindt.
Annie Nick.
Mike Nick.
Paul Edwin. Brian Buffum.
Kathy Waller.
Steve Waller.
Sandy Herring.
John McDermott.
I'm Mike Durham, village trustee. David German, trustee. Bob Stigler, trustee.
Okay, anybody in the group who can remember everybody's name?
What about half of them?
That guy,
records everything, sure.
He's got it. All right, let's do this quick. We didn't expect this many people, but it's really nice to see everybody here. We're doing a tour around the village. We're going to do this pretty quickly because we're scheduling these 20 minutes apart. Trying to leave 5 minutes in between, kind of going counterclockwise around the town. I think we're on number 10. I think is that where we're at. We got 3 more to do. But why don't we maybe start with John, because we kind of set it up with you, and anybody else wants to. Why don't you folks spend 10 minutes or something quickly, tell us a little bit issues. We don't need to do too much repetition. We're not going to have a chance for everybody to speak. Let's tell us kind of somewhat what the issues are and the big picture. Part of this, we're out trying to get information tonight to see things in the flesh. This will be on the agenda with the other 12 of them next Thursday night, the 25th. We have a village board meeting. We've got some stuff we may do before we get to these. We're not necessarily going to solve or resolve all of those at that point in time, but they'll be there for discussion, for the direction, that type of thing. So it's the start of the process. You want to take a couple minutes with any of the neighbors, just tell us why we're here.
I'm John Merrick. I live on this property here. This has been, my wife says to pick your battles, and this is my battle. And this is a 12-year battle with the village of Waukesha. And I have sunk my teeth in on this problem. And over the last 3 years, I see this problem going only one direction, and that's back towards the entrance. There has never been a permanent resolution to moving the water properly through this neighborhood. And then on top of that, we have introduced another brand new neighborhood, and their overflow is our neighborhood. And our water isn't leaving this neighborhood. We've got ditches.
It does come under.
Yeah, we have ditches that are completely misgraded, culvert pipes that aren't clear. Water's not moving. My ditch is 300 feet long. If you go by the standard of plumbing, dropping 4 inches every foot, 200 feet out, it's 1 foot up. So all this water is coming in and it has no place to go and it's backing up. If I try to step in there, I'm gonna sink to my knees. I just can't do it. It's impossible. This has all been just, you look on Google Earth and all these ditches were meticulously manicured on Google Earth. When I bought my home, I could mow my ditch 100% up to the culvert pipe in all directions. And it's just gonna get worse.
And our property was gorgeous. And if you look beyond this terrible looking ditch line, our property is gorgeous. But your eyes can't go past that. So we spend all of this time maintaining a beautiful property because we want to have a beautiful property and share it with the rest of our neighbors. And my yard looks like garbage. It looks like garbage. No matter what I do, it looks like garbage. And we just spent $1,500 2 weeks ago, and we trenched, and he spent a week out here trenching. I had a gorgeous garden down here. It was submerged 100% in water. I had to completely dismantle it. And he's got now trenches that, because our yard was wet, almost the entire dirt line that you see, completely soaking wet all of the way up. It looks terrible.
An average week in this neighborhood is watching one of the neighbors pull their lawnmower out of a ditch with a truck.
Yes.
That is an average week. If anybody in here can say they haven't had it happen.
Two things. I know I was out last summer or fall or not. We didn't. I didn't bring my notes, but I think in your roughly 300 feet, there's about 5 feet of drop from culvert inward. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Doing this about bit for Chris, we're not doing it, so it's about a 6 foot and 60 or something like that. It's probably. I mean, if you were to straight run through it, what is that?
Almost 1%. Right? 5 and 100. 5
Well,
feet
yeah,
100.
it'd be 1 in 48. It was like 1 in 60. I mean, that's going to be what, 1.67%, something like that. Oh, just a real quick thing. How many people literally live on Hamm Road? I know you good people don't, but that's okay.
A couple of us live like on the corner.
Yeah.
They're also affected.
Right. Okay. Anybody else want to
Yeah, I just
speak?
want to say, we moved in 1988, and I mowed my culvert up until about 3 years ago. I don't, it was bone dry, and now I have probably 4 or 5 inches of standing water and weeds, and it's muck, scum, mosquitoes. And so for the last 3 years, I don't know what event to attribute it to, whether it be that subdivision over there, the timing or what, but all these culverts were bone dry. I mean, just dirt dry. So something happened in the last 3 years that's significant, and I don't know what, but that's, so we've lived here a long time.
Our home is 40,
we
lived in our place.
Just want to make sure that folks put on there.
Yep.
We lived in our place 45 years and never had water come through our drain tile, running all the time now.
And where are you?
And I'm third house in from beyond. On this side of the
boulevard
road.
area, on this side?
Right.
Yep. I'm sorry, I'm on this side. I'm in the corner of behind Copper.
All right.
So our property is on the other side, but the same thing. With water and him having to get pulled out, us not being able to mow. And we were thinking, we didn't realize this was the situation, and we're racking our brains like, what is going on? Like, this is terrible. And like you said, the scum, the weeds, and we're like, we're relatively new to the neighborhood, but that was a big shock. And this summer, he was just kind of
I thought I was the only idiot who got stuck in the ditch. Like, I was afraid to say it out loud.
I bet it's really a lot of fun to come to a block party. Isn't it?
We all have pictures of you in the ditch.
Have a lot to talk about.
Merck fell in a couple days ago. He got up to here.
Really?
I had to pull him out with my old pickup truck.
But he's short, so. I've been in twice since then.
Well, it's nice to see that you've all got a sense of humor about it. I mean, we're not going to solve the problem tonight. This will be on the village board agenda for meeting next Thursday night, the 25th. We're doing, if you haven't done it or anybody hasn't done it, you can go on the village website. You can see the itinerary we had for tonight. They're all unique. They're different issues. Some are solvable easily, some not so much. We're going to talk about stuff next week. It may not be final resolution, but at least we've got the start of the conversation. It's nice to see so many people participate, express your concerns. I would encourage you, I want you to back up to one other thing. We had issue last week. I don't know if some of you watched any of the village board meetings on YouTube live. You can do that, or they're in the library. Our YouTube thing is on the fritz at the moment, so we didn't capture last week's meeting. Do come to the meeting. We're trying to, don't have too many people in the room. We're trying to keep social distancing, spacing the chairs, or hopefully, or you could even touch base next week and find out if the problem is solved with the YouTube transmission. You can watch it.
Just a quick question. Oh, I'm sorry. How many subdivisions experience the same problem we're having in the town of Waukesha? Just curious.
Not all the problems are the same. I mean, guessing other people, and they're different magnitudes, they're different issues. Typically, I don't know, it's typical of probably older subdivisions. I mean, I think we've probably got, we've seen some things, they're not the same, but we've seen some similarities, they're different in scale. I think there's
but this
probably 8
isn't
to 10
unique
to 12.
to our subdivision.
No, we have similar issues. Again,
Okay.
they have different circumstances, but I think there's probably 6 to 8 to 10. Anybody else take a guess at it? It's
Can I
not.
record when you're all
What's that?
finished? I want to record, so I want to talk to you a little bit about the whole issue with do you have a record of how Judy Fuller tried to fight you guys and get this problem solved before John took it on, maybe 20 years ago, and the township did nothing regarding the same issue? Do you have a record of that, showing that neighbors got upset and tried to get things taken care of?
Yep, we got somebody coming through.
Because I want, this has been an ongoing issue. This isn't new. The farther down I live, over here, third house or up here on the
That's
right.
a good question. I'll give you my honest answer. I don't know.
Okay. Because the other thing I'm concerned about is mosquitoes. What about a mosquito-borne virus? Like, what if somebody gets like Zeta, or somebody gets some kind of like, you know, disgusting, you know, mutation of some virus because, you know, we can't, you know, deal with this. It shouldn't be our responsibility either.
Can I ask you this, Brian? I think we all need to hear that you're going to take this seriously.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm looking for.
I think I've been here 15 years and I've got a swamp just around the bend here.
Yeah.
You've seen it. It's wider than it's ever been. I can't take care of it on my own.
And just for me and other board members, you can jump in and speak. I mean, I'm not here to try to oversell and underdeliver something that doesn't accomplish anything. But I think if there wasn't a genuine concern about it, I don't think we'd be here tonight.
Right.
And that might not be
we want to hear that.
a lot to hang your hat on. I mean, any other board members, you can speak out. Again, we're not diving into that.
I don't want to see it passed off like a DNR or somebody either.
But I wouldn't be here tonight. We appreciate you guys.
Oh, we appreciate
I don't know
you
if
hearing
we've ever
that.
had a word here before in the other meeting.
I've actually we've had arguments. I think this is probably the 5th or the 6th time where we've had, well, I call them suits at one time because there was a bunch of people and they were wearing suits, not dressed comfortable like you guys are, and all lined up and promising.
This is my dress. I'm so
promising. And so that my husband told me not to talk tonight because I tend to get a little escalated. I'm just sick a little tired of my yard looking
That brought a
like,
reaction
I'm so
to both
sorry,
neighbors.
but it looks like shit. I want a nice yard.
Can I ask what's going on over here?
Well, part of that is
trenched that.
having to take that whole area was
Completely in water.
a flower bed, and it was just covered in water. So I dug in French drain pipes on the side, and I just had to go right over it. Just even coming up to the edge of it, and it's drying out. It's horrible.
And so,
Sure,
you
we
know,
gotta-
we want somebody to help us because my yard is the problem for Gus's yard. For all of your yard is my yard, and it's not
On this
my
side.
on this side.
And then we got the same thing on
and
the
it's
other
very
side.
disheartening, and it makes me feel terrible that this is the start of it, and everybody else is, you know, got the.
This young lady wants to ask a question.
Thanks for the young, that's all right. You guys came in from the back way?
We did.
Will you go out this way? So you
That's
can
where we're
really-
heading, and for what it's worth, any of you are, this is a public meeting. If anybody wants to join, we're going up to Beeheim, Crestview, and Arlo to end our tour. So
But I
we're
mean, I
going
just
this
think
direction.
behind here is the main problem in the
Yes.
subdivision.
Yes,
right?
it is.
Yeah.
Can I add one thing to that?
Yes.
At the end down here, it puddles up right at the cul-de-sac at the end here. There's a trench out of there. It leads across the gentleman's farm there. Goes out to a creek a little bit to the west. Water won't run through there. To me, I'm not a hydrologist, but I think if that was trenched out, a lot of these problems would help a lot of the problems here.
Right.
That's right in that farm down there. I don't know what right you have to go in there or not.
And is water coming across Guthrie from that subdivision? Because
Yeah. Right on the
okay,
road.
that, I thought so.
Part of
just
the problem, I think,
walking.
why it's coming up farther, more neighbors
Yeah,
up
more
above.
than ever.
We're going to move along to maintain our schedule. Again, welcome to people. Come to the meeting. Can't promise you. Hopefully, we'll have the YouTube working. Thanks to Sandy Hamm, town resident. We didn't ask him to do it, but he's volunteering. He's putting some of this together, so he's got a video recording of it. My last parting comment, and that's you, John Merrick, that young lady that you brought with you there tonight for the class of 2017, a senior. She is very articulate.
I'm only 3 years out of high school.
Is that high school class?
High school class of 2017.
So I noticed that we have like a concrete culvert over there and a metal culvert over here.
Concrete block.
Yeah, the metal culvert's under there. They just put the little skirt here. That was like the metal culvert is right behind that cinder block.
Who put the cinder block in?
Probably me.
Who put this here, John?
Me.
Yeah, okay.
Because when they did the road, there's a big gap here.
We get that, but that concrete block is kind of constricting the end of the culvert.
Yeah. And I was gonna try.
So
getting that
are
other
you
lump
saying
over
like
that.
the metal culvert ends like right there?
Yeah, probably. Cause like you see that big rock sticking out right there?
Yeah, here.
I couldn't get underneath there, and I don't know what that rock is from, the original ground or what. It's sticking way down.
you have any idea what kind of a right of? Okay. And tell us, you observe from time to time, this is a stormwater area over here. Yeah, and you tell us you never see water over there?
No, never over there.
That he was working and may
All
not
right.
come. So
Well, then I guess we get started.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll do a quick introduction for this is Steve Baugrud.
Baugrud, yep.
Baugrud. Brian Fisher, we hadn't met before.
I'm Tom Kalinsky, village trustee.
Hi, Tom.
I'm Chris Janelli with Rupert Milky. I'm the village engineer.
Okay.
Mike Durr, trustee.
Bob Stigler, trustee. Sandy Hamm.
I know Sandy. Yeah.
I'm Jerry with the Public Works Department.
David German, trustee.
Okay.
Why don't you tell us, and you sent email with photographs and everything that's been distributed, so he's got it, but why don't you verbalize this? When did you first contact? A month ago? Or
Contacted maybe a month ago.
Not all important, but tell us what's going on. It was after we had some of those
heavy
rains back.
Since I've been here for 5 years, I've had some drainage issues in the backyard, and it seems like it was mostly in spring. The snow would melt, we'd get some rain and some drainage, and then it would just kind of fill up my whole backyard, and within a week it would kind of go away. What prompted me reaching out to the town this time was that maybe a month ago we had that really heavy Sunday rain. My whole backyard was flooded, and I looked to the west, and that neighbor and the next neighbor was also flooded. And what was probably most concerning is that neighbor right there, their 3 crocks were underwater. I think was probably right. So anyways, I reached out to David Bellman. He was less than helpful, I would say, and so then I reached out to Mr. Fisher here.
It's Brian.
And that's kind of where we're at. And so he offered to take a look at it and see if maybe something wasn't engineered properly, or if there's something we could do to maybe improve the drainage.
If we take a walk around up there?
Yeah,
look at it.
maybe
we'll
even
talk.
as we do it. Chris, do you know, remembering when I see beehive strainers and inlets and all that kind of stuff, do you remember what this is supposed to be? Or
Vaguely, I think there's rear yard storm sewer that comes out. I thought it went to the pond.
Well,
I'll have to look, but
whatever.
I know that
this is
probably
the
not
start.
abnormal.
Start of the process. The whole thing is so everybody, come on, you be the tour guide. Everybody can see what it is, and there's going to have to be a little bit of digging and research and exploring and stuff. And whatever.
Well, I've got, I don't know if it's coming out, this run that's underneath. And then on the other lot line, there's an equal one. So I don't know if everything comes in here and then it comes out.
I think everything comes down the back ditch and then runs to the street, if I recall.
So, and these guys chose not to get rid of the second pump. Our guy did on these 2 lots, and so what happens is I can see the water coming in and it kind of follows right on here. And it'll basically fill up from maybe midway into their yard all the way to the trampoline. And then it kind of stops there.
Yep.
And then his yard, that's Andy next door, his yard kind of fills up as well, more towards this west side.
Which way is this going, Chris?
I think it goes down the street.
It's supposed to be going to the ditch.
Looks like it comes this way.
That inlet, almost, if that's an inlet, that almost looks like it's
And
higher than some of the other places.
I guess it, I not expecting.
I know that there was
Tires almost.
I know. Like a rear yard storm sewer or something.
How are you doing? Are you the neighbor?
Yeah, man.
You bringing beer or what?
I just had a long ass day at work. I just rolled in actually, so yeah, you can I'll crack one open if you want one, dude.
Just kidding, you can't do that. I mean, I'd love to, but you see how thirsty I look?
Totally.
And Brian Fisher.
Hey, Brian.
We're good.
Other people are quickly, they can do it. We got your whole village board here.
Right on.
And a couple of staff people and stuff, so
I think
we got an
Andrew has
invitation
had
come
the
and
same,
look, so we're
similar
here.
but maybe not as bad problem. So that run there's an equal one in between our lot lines over there, and his will fill up kind of that way as well.
Yeah.
You're
Mine fills up.
You're the next house?
Yeah.
Mine's the greenhouse, yeah, with the
Okay.
playground there. So like basically mine will fill up on like a bad day, right?
Your backyard.
My backyard will pull up to the slide, I guess. Almost the slide. But it doesn't touch. We kind of graded it out perfect. To be honest with you, I told the dude to like make it higher because I could just tell that like we might have a problem. So it never touches my house. It never touches like my gutter. It'll get up to the gutter and around my patio and kind of.
I hope you're saying downspout, not the gutter of your house.
I'm sorry, the downspout. Yeah.
Pick on words, because if it gets up to your gutter, we're in a lot of trouble.
Right, right.
And mine, I like that bad
Right,
Sunday.
Mr. Stigler? Right on.
Mine got about up to here.
Really?
All the way across to my fireplace. And it was, I mean, if I came out, it probably was 2 feet deep.
You've got occupiable
Yeah.
space there in the lower level,
Yeah.
or what?
Fortunately, it hasn't been wet yet, as far as I can tell.
Finished or not, or what?
Finished, yeah. The whole basement's finished.
It went away in like a day or so.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that it just doesn't drain faster. Like, but it goes away in 24 hours.
And mine'll make it just past
but
the
it happens
trampoline,
like
and then it
it's
stops.
more than just that day.
And
It
so I
happens
almost
a
wonder if
lot.
I'm supposed to have another little kind of knock that down and have it still drain that way
There's
or
a
not.
higher spot between your two properties, you think?
Yeah, it's where it's a little higher.
Many years old. The question is, was this, I mean, there was certainly a plan for stormwater management and drainage in the area. Yep. The question is, what got constructed? I mean, this has been here how long?
I've been here 5 years, maybe.
Are you the original occupant of the house?
Yeah, and Andrew,
Yeah.
we both
How
built
many
it.
years?
4 years.
4 years,
So,
5 years?
I understand your desire to understand the stormwater management, but I assume you're gonna have Chris do that.
I think Chris needs to give, let me even back up a minute. I reached out, tried to get him, and don't dump this on him for a minute, he didn't get a chance to get back to me, wanted to ask David Bellman
Okay.
to be here. I mean, it might be a place to start to have a discussion with him or take a look at it. I mean, I went on Waukesha County, and I don't know how good this is, because is that topo, is that 15 on there yet or something? Or how new is Probably the a little topo? older, yeah. So maybe we can't even rely on the topo.
I would get a master grading plan of the
I think if we
Yeah,
dig
yes.
into the plan, the master
Yeah,
plan.
so we're
Who's gonna do that?
Well, I think Chris does it for them. I mean, we're not looking, and we can talk about this next Thursday night. I mean, for my part, we're not interested in spending thousands of dollars of his time before we cut to the chase, but I mean, if we can do a quick look and find out what's going on, conversation that you with Bellman or
But
something.
I want to reiterate my concern. We're standing in an easement that the town is not responsible for, basically telling our village engineer to go spend money to look into something.
I don't know whether they're doing it or not. We said we're not gonna make any decisions tonight.
That's
Okay?
fine,
So
then
we're
he's not going to look into anything.
Not making any decisions tonight. We can put this on hold or any directive to him until next week, Thursday.
Okay.
And let's talk about what we want to do about it.
That'll be fine.
If
We
he's,
should have a
if,
master grading plan. of
if
this
he's willing,
subdivision.
wink, wink, I mean, if Chris is willing to spend 15 or 20 minutes or half hour look at it and not charge the village, wink, wink, I would encourage him to do it. Okay, I answer your point. Not interested in having him get involved running a whole huge bill. I think maybe it's too concerned, exhaustive
That's
thing.
where I'm getting
Unless we
concerned.
authorize him to do it, but when basically this gentleman sends a thing to me and you saw the pictures, that we got backyard flooded here and it's overtopping people's septic system. Something was just constructed and graded out 5 years ago, and we have
But I
basically
do
the
want
town
these gentlemen to
grading
understand that we're standing in a private drainage easement that the town is not responsible for. I mean, I just want you to understand that. I'm just trying to put all the
My
cards
only
on the
point is, and
table.
I just put another card out here, whether or where the drainage easement is, how this is supposed to function, or whether or not, I'm not interested in the town running up a big bill. We're not gonna be the ones who are gonna be able to, this is a developer's mistake or something with the grading. We're not
Yeah, I
spending,
mean, the town
we're not
approved
spending the money,
inefficient grading.
village stuff
or,
to do it.
drainage.
If this wasn't constructed
It's a private
according to-
easement, so.
I understand that, but Mike, if this
It's a
was not,
private easement.
if this was not
But for the
constructed
developer to get it
according
approved.
to the plan type of
And
thing,
that would
we
be
might
for
have
you to
good
sue the
recourse to go
developer,
back and
not
talk
me.
to them. We'll get to that. Let's go around the back. We'll introduce ourselves quickly, and thanks for giving us a few time.
It's not fair that you bring some for yourself.
Well, you guys are on official business, so. Go over there.
All right, yeah.
We didn't expect this big of a group, but this is nice. On a short notice, Village tonight. This is the 13th and last stop of the tour. I said it was kind of like a progressive dinner and round robin and that type of thing. We were supposed to have the after dinner. We were supposed to have the after dinner drinks ready, but maybe they didn't get the message. We had a 12-course meal so far, so we're ready for that. But just quickly, thanks for your time. This is the end of it. We hope to hear about 8:20. I think close to that. We're looking unique, different drainage issues. And I was originally out here, and where did Jerry go? Jerry, he and I were out here with Scott Fuller.
Yeah, that's my
a friend or somebody knew. I don't know, what was that? Month and a half ago, something like that. We didn't even meet you here at that point in time. You came, we looked at this, we looked at the culvert type of thing. This is, and somebody gives the history quick. This is been here for quite a number of years, this part of the development thing. There's a pond or something down there. You can explain it. I don't know whether the town, now the village can do anything about this or whether or not we're trying to build awareness about village board members about drainage issues. They're all unique, they're all different. This will be on the agenda because they all are for next Thursday night at Village Hall. Meeting starts at 6:30. This will be well into the evening before we get to it. We're not trying to see how many people we put in Village Hall because we're trying to do social distancing there and keep people apart, so we really can't have 100 people there. It just won't work very well. And you watch Village, we do have the YouTube videos that are typically available, seen live on the town's website. We had a technical issue with it last Thursday, couldn't get it to work. Hopefully it's repaired by next week. If there's interest, you can do that. If it's not live, hopefully at least we can get it on the library. You can see it. So let's just go around real quickly and introduce yourselves. I'm Brian. Some of you tell us people live here, issues, concerns, what you see, tell us what's going on.
We've been here 2 years. I'm sorry, 5 years. And the last 2 years, it has not dried up in there. It has completely changed to the point of where now we've got actually aquatic plants in our backyard, and I think some over in your yard over here too. So, I mean,
does anybody have any idea, and if you don't, it's okay, but whether this is any kind of an easement or whether or not?
Yes, it's a drainage easement for a subdivision.
It is a drainage easement.
Yeah, so I work for We Energy, so, you know, we have the gas pipeline that comes back, you know, along the back edge. There's a drainage easement that comes through here, and then all through the back. So all the water flows down into the pond.
And it used to flow much better into the pond.
Yeah.
When we've been here 18 years, and it used to always be full. We have boys that play hockey, so we could have an ice rink in the winter. Now some winters it's dry.
So you want more water in your pond.
But it's supposed to be down there, but it's all staying.
It's all here.
It's supposed. It was built to flow that way, and it worked for
I've looked on
10 years.
Waukesha County GIS, if anybody does anything at topography or topo, there's not much change in grade elevation. I mean, that's what, 500-600 feet or something to the other end of it, and that's a long way. There's only a couple drops, so there's not much pitch to it. But I know even when Scott and Jerry and I were here, do we think, I mean, is the riprap and stuff down there, is that in the drainage easement, or does anybody know? So that's the back of you. Is some of that constricted or something, do you think, or not, or what?
I mean, I don't know, you know, if over time, you know, sediment with everything draining and just filled in this hole, so the whole topography has kind of filled in from original, you know, and now you got so much sediment there that's not allowing the water to flow any longer. I mean, I've had years when they put the subdivision in next to us, when they put the big sediment down there, the drainage pond down there.
Was this guy filming the ditch here?
That's our neighbor. No, I'm kidding.
So when they put in that drainage pond down there, mine dried up. So I was dry for a couple of years. Well, the road actually drains back into here, so there's a culvert that comes underneath the road that drains in there as well. Yeah.
Well, isn't there an outlet to that ultimately?
It usually never comes.
Brian, 4 years ago or so, if there was a big rain, I mean, you could literally take a kayak on that end, come down here, float all the way down here, and within a couple of days, it's all dried up. I mean, it has changed dramatically, and God knows why.
And I've been here for 13 years. And remember when the Dells went crazy and the houses were falling in? We had such terrible rain here, it was crazy. Again, 3 days, and all the rain was gone. And it was just like June of last year when it started to back up so that we couldn't even use it. And, you know, we were always told, and I understand, we do not want anything in this easement. You can't plant anything because they want that drainage to go. Well, we didn't do this. Now, and the water will not go through. I mean, my house, there's a lot of water back there, a lot. We could go swimming.
When were these houses built?
About 18, we've been here for 18 years. 2002. Yeah. 2002, 2001 probably.
Yep.
Might not be.
Yeah. Late 2001, 2002 people built.
And this was Olinsky, basically?
No, Pat Nelson.
Individual.
Pat Nelson was the developer.
Developed the property.
Pat Nelson? Yep. He's down in Florida now, and he's not even in the, obviously he's not in the area. But he was the developer before, and then sold the lots individually.
He gave us the plat maps that says where the easements are coming across our yard.
Grading plan, easement stuff, anything.
Should be, I don't know that we do, but the town should.
I probably have them at work.
Yeah.
Yes.
You want to share?
Because
I do,
this-
because
this
when
is
we put our stuff
easement
in here, we
too.
have all the
Right.
developers' plans.
Oh, sure.
So it's probably still on our records.
All right, well, maybe if you're willing to share or something.
I mean, they all should be on file at the county, right?
I would think, yeah.
Yeah, so they should be there as well. So you should be able to get a subdivision plat there.
You may not want to bring them with Wetco stamped on them.
Exactly.
When they show up in court. I'm an AT&T guy, so I appreciate your point of view.
But they're at the county.
You know where Village Hall is? They have some large brown envelopes there that you might be able to get one of those and just
drop it in there
slide
anonymously.
It in there. Okay. Well, we're not going to solve this tonight. This may not be village responsibility to solve in any way, shape, or form, but we wanted to come out, just chat with you and see what it is. This will be put on the agenda for next Thursday. I don't know whether we'll have any information to act on at that point in time, but we.
How do you decide whose responsibility it is? Or what does that come down to?
I'm gonna let Chris Janelli answer that question because he's the smartest guy that came with the
It
tour
could be,
tonight.
it could be in your deeds that you take care of the maintenance for the pond. Subdivision as a whole is responsible usually.
I imagine you guys have a homeowners association.
No.
You do not?
No.
It might be notes on a plat that say who's responsible, so I don't know, we'll have to look into that.
What if it fills in and doesn't drain and nobody did anything to it?
But you all may own a fractional share of it.
So you can decide who wants to buy the fraction that doesn't drain. Okay, so I don't think there's other than the fact we enjoy being here and have a chance to meet all of you. There's not really any further we can go with this tonight, I don't think. Any other questions or anything?